Welcome to the Speak Pact podcast, where high-performing speakers and the producers who hire them merge to give you the insider secrets to the lucrative speaking industry. Antoniette Rose, your podcast host and celebrated speaker agent, unveils insider success strategies. Discover a nexus of thought leaders and bookers, maximizing your potential in each and every episode. Your ticket to ultimate speaking success begins right here. Catch the transformative insights waiting for you on the Speak Pact podcast, hosted by the industry powerhouse herself, Antoniette Rose.
Welcome back to Speak Pact. We are thrilled that you're here today, and this is one interview that I've been really excited to dive into, because not only do I know about Linda Fisk, but I also have had the privilege to work alongside of her and really see that she isn't just talk. She knows her stuff, and she really is a queen when it comes to real networking. So you know, networking can sometimes feel like one of those words, I have to join a networking group. But she understands it from a scientific side, and it is about connection and community. And she really understands that in a way that I've not seen it come really from anyone else. So welcome to the stage, Linda.
I am so excited to be here with you. Thank you so much for inviting me to this incredible platform that you've created. I mean, your guests are nothing short of just spectacular. And to be in the midst of the stellar lineup of guests that you've had on your program, I mean, honestly, I'm just thrilled to be here. Thank you.
Well, you're right up there with them, and people are going to see that even more as we dive into some of the topics that we're going to talk about today. I'll read a little bit of your bio, but then, as everybody knows, we're going to sprinkle more of that through as we go. But you come packed with a big punch, and so I want listeners to know that up front. You are a multi-award-winning CEO, 2 times Stevie International Business Award winner, 2 times TEDx speaker, 6 times international best-selling author, U.S. Senator for the WBAF, TV producer, podcast host, which you have an incredible podcast yourself, a keynote speaker, university producer. I don't know how you look as great as you look. Like, I would look so harried. Just tell me how you do it. And you are devoted to expanding the success of other high caliber leaders. You're also chairwoman of a pretty neat organization, and it is really a set apart networking organization specifically for women leadership, but it is one that is just so effective. And I don't know what the formula is that makes it as different as it is, but we'll get more into that as we go. It is a community of unstoppable women enhancing their leadership blueprint and embracing their power to be the best versions of themselves, not only in work, but also in life. So let's go ahead and dive right in. First of all, what brought you to the place of just really becoming a master in the bringing people together? Expertise.
You know, I happen to be able to serve as the chief marketing officer for one of the largest and most prestigious leadership organizations in the world. They had 36,000 members all over the world, and it was absolutely inspirational to see leaders come together and tackle some of the most urgent and some of the most daunting challenges, obstacles, roadblocks, not only facing them or their businesses, but really their communities, their region of the world. And what I found is as leaders, and specifically women leaders, come together to collaborate, to solve problems, to create new possibilities, to lean into opportunities, that's where real transformation happens. And after being witness to this for several years, I got to tell you, I was a convert. I understood the transformational power of leaders coming together to either create something entirely new, to disrupt a decades-old industry, or to solve a daunting problem that experts have been wrangling with for years. When you have the right people with the right intention focused on the right issues, anything is possible.
I hear other organizations talk about that, but then you join, you get in there, and it's really people just trying to feel their way around in the dark. They really don't know what they're doing. They really haven't risen to that level of excellence in leadership quite yet, right? They're on their journey, but
Yes.
you buy in because you really want to be able to have that inner circle of other high performing professionals that you can share, new level, new devil, share where those new problems come in as you rise. It's really easy to find organizations that sell that, but really difficult to find organizations that actually deliver on that. And I don't know how you and leadership do it, but these are very women I want to actually learn from, right? Women
Yeah.
that I'm not the only leader in the room. I'm not trying to toot my horn, but it takes a lot of years and a lot of blood, sweat, and tears, right? To get to a certain level where you see the problems and solutions that aren't just baseline. You guys have
That's
really.
absolutely right. And I will tell you that Leadership Global has become a place where women of extraordinary accomplishment can come together for growth that actually transcends titles. This is a private, curated community committed to purpose, profit, and personal legacy. So, Leadership Global, to your point, I don't think it's just another network. It's a trusted circle of women in leadership. These are women who are founders, executives, entrepreneurs, and visionaries who all believe that success is more than status and leadership is truly about impact. So this is a place where you're going to find the kind of high caliber relationships, kind of expert insights, and the kind of personalized support that you need to elevate every single dimension of your leadership journey. And honestly, it reflects so much of the research that I've read over the years about how creating a close knit sort of insider circle of other women who will open up doors for you. That is absolutely the game changer difference between those women that rise into a C-suite position or they become a very successful business owner, business founder, and those that kind of lose their path. They feel blocked, they feel passed over, they feel like they've never gotten the breaks necessary to create the vision they have in their mind. The difference is, have you created a power tribe around you? That is the big differentiator.
Well, and we're talking a lot about leadership, and for some, we have men leaders in this audience as well. So obviously, leadership is not going to be the place for them. But the point is, find an excellent place to have that power tribe around you, because it really is essential. There's going to be days that are hard, right? And you're going to feel beat up. Doesn't matter how successful you are, how great you look on the books. You're just going to have those days. And just being able to be in those kinds of communities is incredible. But also, the higher we rise, the more our selective we need to be with how we spend our time. What I find interesting in this particular group, and then this particular organization, and then we'll move on to some of the deeper dives I want to go into about effective connections, right? Is it doesn't cost tens of thousands of dollars per month, not even close. I mean, the price
Close
point
to
is pretty
one
incredible.
tenth of the cost of any other organization. But to your point, that is because right now in Leadership Global, we serve women all over the world. So we have members in Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia, and Kenya, Africa, Mumbai, India. And their monetary valuation is very different from the US dollar. And we want to be accessible to them. So we keep our pricing at 1/10 of the cost of any of those other organizations that may come to mind, because we want to be a revenue accelerator for those women. We don't want to be a financial burden. So we keep our pricing extraordinarily low so that everyone around the world can be a part of this extraordinary community. Because I will tell you that the biggest issue that women have is finding a safe place to be able to learn, to grow, to be vulnerable, to share where they're stuck, where they need help, where they need support, where they need guidance, and being able to have that close circle of women who will open up doors for you, that will give you access to the privileges and benefits that you deserve. That's rare. And that's really what we're trying to create at a global level. So we want to be accessible to everyone.
Yeah, that's really powerful. I mean, I'll tell you the truth. Like when I looked at it, I'm like, it's probably going to be one of those groups with a meeting, right? That I just don't have the time for, because the price point was so low, right? We're used to tens of thousands per month in those more elite level. I don't know how you guys put the formula together, but it really works. And this show is not a show about leadership. It's just that one of the best examples that I've seen, when it comes to true connection, true community with those types of people that will rise you, those power tribes, right? That will rise you to the next level. So let's talk about that a little bit. What is the difference, Linda, from joining somebody else's power tribe and maybe creating your own, because you have a niche, you maybe already have some really high performing people within your circle, and you want to be able to have those times to get together, communicate, connect, all of those kinds of things. Tell us from the side of science, right? If I'm going to put a community together like that, first of all, what makes it worth everybody's time? And how do you attract those kind of more seasoned professionals?
Yeah. You know, what I hear all the time is that high performing executives in the C suite of leadership tend to value the perspective of other leaders, other people that are facing similar challenges, similar obstacles and roadblocks, or similar opportunities. And they appreciate the wisdom that comes from the practical experiences learned by others in very similar circumstances. But most leaders don't have a safe environment where they can share their concerns. Most C suite executives often feel like any public show of vulnerability or uncertainty actually introduce risk of losing the confidence or maybe the respect of their board of directors, their employees, their customers. So to reduce that sense of, this is a risky proposition to be open, to be transparent, to be vulnerable, we've created a community of other leaders that allows you to have an outlet to continuously learn and improve, but in a confidential setting, and to get exposure to new ways of approaching problems and issues, as well as new ways of leveraging opportunities. But honestly, I would say that most importantly, this kind of safe, supportive environment allows members to develop friendships, to develop not just working relationships, but lifelong friendships with other CEOs that can enrich both their personal as well as their professional life. But to your point, is choosing a leadership community that supports your unique purpose. It can improve the growth and profitability of your organization because you benefit from the hard-won lessons and the experiences of other leaders. So if you're a member of a networking group like Leadership Global or Chief or any of the others, you have access to best practices on key issues. You can receive honest advice and feedback from peers who have no conflict of interest. They don't have a horse in that race. And so they can provide to you very open, honest, and unbiased guidance. And you get to collaborate with other leaders to work on the business rather than just in the business. And having that kind of perspective is absolutely a game changer. But as you suggested, there's science around this too. And I'm happy to talk about a recent study from Stein and Partners about that.
Yeah, let's do that here in a moment. I will say I resisted the community aspect within my own ecosystem for quite a while because people hire me to cut a check for speed, to get that engine running, to build their corporate training or their speaking business, right? And so we're down to brass tacks, right? We're rolling up our sleeves, we're doing the work. I didn't want to give them another meeting to go to. So what I did, and maybe this is going to match the science you're about ready to teach us. I don't know. I don't know. I'm gonna learn just like the listeners here. But what I decided was, if I make it functional for them, it's worth coming to, versus just coming to a chat kind of network meeting. We actually give real feedback on their LinkedIn profiles as it relates to their speaker asset, any new speaker assets they put together, their new demo reel, a new maybe landing page or website, whatever it is. So not only do they get my expertise and my input, but they also get the input of this inner circle, this really tight inner
Yes.
circle. To me, that is worth their time. And it becomes even more valuable than just kind of coming to a network meeting. So I'm curious what you say about that for internally, because my service is more functional. It's not like a coaching program, although there's a whole bunch of consulting that goes along with it. So that's why I really resisted adding a community aspect. And it's different. It's not like we have like a community page where everybody goes to. It's these really kind of roll up your sleeves sessions together a couple times a month. If you want to come and get some input or give some input and meet fellow kind of high achieving speakers, then they get that bundled in without having to maybe, you know, purchase one of the 20, 30, $40,000 a month higher kind of echelon networking systems, I guess, or memberships. So let's talk about the science. Like, why is mine seeming to work with it for people who are very, very busy, who
Well,
don't want
I would
another
say
meeting
that
to go
you
to?
tapped into one of the most important lessons to be learned, and that is that there is a really significant segment of the population that learns best in community. They don't learn well on their own. They don't learn well when an expert tells them what to do. They learn really well workshopping issues, problems, concerns, roadblocks, obstacles within a community framework. So, as I noted, there was a recent study by Stein and Partners, and they studied this phenomenon, and they found that members of leadership communities experienced average revenue growth rates in their businesses just above 5% over the prior year. Now, you may say 5% over the prior year. I mean, that's not setting the world on fire. But look at this. That's compared to an industry average of only 1%. So think about that. That is 5% revenue growth rate compared to the year before, and compared to the industry average of 1 to 1.6%. That's more than 200% faster growth. And executives who set aside the time to attend learning events, leadership events, networking exchanges, I got to tell you, they experience dramatically superior operating results. In fact, members of the organizations of leadership groups, right? So these are members of leadership groups, those types of organizations. They enjoyed operating margins of 22% in the prior year versus an overall average of 10%. So think about that. That's more than twice the profitability. And the only difference was the fact that the members of the study that had the higher operating margins were part of a leadership group. And that is because these members learn from the hard-won lessons of other leaders. They learn best practices. They're able to ask questions. They're able to workshop issues and problems that they may be facing. They're able to receive the guidance and unbiased, objective advice and feedback from other leaders who have been in the trenches exactly where they are. So I would say that that definitely proves that there are some measurable differences in terms of benefit for being part of a leadership community. But we also know that social networks are critical to professional advancement. In fact, research from the Kellogg School of Management, Northwestern University, now tells us that men and women need very different kinds of networks, or what I call power tribes, in order to succeed. because women in executive leadership, they often face cultural and political hurdles that men typically don't. They benefit from a very close-knit inner circle of female contacts, female connections that can share private, confidential information. And that's really what you're talking about with your speakers group. These are people who are coming together to share private, confidential information. Now, for women, they face a greater challenge in networking to find professional opportunities and career advancement. And so, women, more than men, need to maintain both a wide network as well as an informative inner circle in order to land the best positions, secure the most advantageous opportunities. But I will tell you that the good news is that by taking a smart approach, women can continue to find really meaningful advancement opportunities. They will see doors open for them. They may be invited to sit on a board or become part of an advisory group. But identifying and connecting with people who are connected to multiple networks is definitely a key strategy. Being a part of a global wide network, certainly important. Building that large network definitely has advantages. But for women specifically, having a close inner circle of women that support you, that champion you, that advise you, and that encourage you, well, that is the differentiator. And now the Kellogg School of Management at Northwest University definitely has a whole body of research to indicate that when women take advantage of developing a close inner circle of confidants, as well as building a global, referral network, that they're able to see incredible impact, not only in their career, not only in the advancement of their business, but also in their own physical and emotional well-being.
Okay, there is a lot there, and you were speaking specifically to women throughout in certain spots, but I actually see the need. It's different, but is just as strong for men.
Oh, yeah.
We're in a really, especially when you're in the speaking and corporate training industry. It's beat up. Like you get beat up quite a bit. You get a lot of no's before you get those key yeses, even when you're a household name. I am co-founder and co-producer of Bach Booking Agents Connect, and there are, we share names with each other, even the NDA ones, just because it's in our tight knit community, like you said. And even some of these names that you feel like their phone rings, right? They're just fielding incoming. It's not the case. It's a tough competitive field. You're going to make it if you work the right system. And part of that ecosystem to work is, yes, outbound outreach, but people hire who they trust. And if they don't trust you, they'll hire or look twice at someone referred by someone they trust. So you talked, Linda, about the dollars and cents. 5%, if you're in the 6 and 7 figures, that's no small thing. Like that is a whole new couple of team members, or that's pretty significant. So beyond that, though, you touched on this, and it's so critical. The money you don't lose is not in that number, right? Learning from other people's mistakes. Oh, I tried that. I went that direction. Maybe you might want to consider, this other thing, or those cautions. The lack of burnout as a founder or a CEO or somebody who's in a high powered leadership position, when you are able to bounce off some frustrations, right, off of other leaders who are facing similar things in their timeline, similar pressures in their timeline, can help you abate actually getting burnt out, or give you some solutions to help take some of that excess off of your shoulders. All of there's just so many residual and ripple benefits of prioritizing, finding a power tribe wherever it is, who, whatever actually is don't just join one, right? Really do your research and find out who is in those groups. And if you can be of value as much as you can can receive value. That's another point that we really haven't dove into, and let's just touch on that really quickly, is when you are part of a power tribe, to make sure that it's go give, right? You're not a drain on you're just not there only to receive, but you're there just as much to give. That again builds trust. It also builds awareness of what you bring to the table. So those high powered people are more willing to refer you. Can we talk on that just for a moment?
Yeah, I got to tell you, you just absolutely hit on some of the most important points in a conversation about networking, building your own power tribe, being a part of a leadership community. Now, as we just discussed, listen, being a part of a leadership community has significant and proven benefits, but leadership communities are not for every executive. To benefit, you need to be, number one, committed to improvement. And not everyone is. Those who believe that they hold a CEO or a C-suite title, and so they're at the end of their learning journey. There's nothing else for them to gain, or there's no other learning for them to be able to, gain through coming to learning events, networking events, masterminds, workshops. Well, they should probably not participate in a leadership community because honestly, if you're not committed to improvement, why are you there? Now, on the other hand, members who value continuous learning and they believe that every CEO must invest in their ongoing professional development, well, they can make excellent members. But again, that takes a bit of humility and it also takes a bit of commitment to improving. And I would just argue that right now, none of us know everything, especially in this age of AI, which is changing every single day. AI is changing jobs, changing expectations, changing response rates, changing everything. Every single aspect of business is being turned upside down because of AI. And we all have an entirely new area of learning available to us. The second qualification, I think, of being a really valuable member of a leadership community is being willing to make a time commitment. A lot of people are not willing to make the time commitment, but I will tell you that consistent participation is an important ingredient in bonding people, building the trust required to discuss key issues. And as you said, people have to know you, like you, and trust you before they'll work with you. So listen, all C-suite executives are busy, and prospective members of any group should view participation as a priority if they expect to get the value out of that group that they're putting into it. Next, you knocked this out of the park. You said it. Be self-aware. In addition to improved organizational performance, successful members of any leadership group have got to aim to increase their levels of satisfaction and performance, not only for their own work, but for their employees, their customers, their partners, their investors. So when you're a part of a leadership community, you're building your own power tribe, being self-aware of how you can leverage that group on behalf of not just your own advancement, but the advancement of those around you becomes incredibly important. And as we talked about at the very beginning, having a sense of humility. That is the fourth criteria of being able to really leverage a leadership community. If you demonstrate a willingness to share not just your personal triumphs, but just as importantly, your personal failures, well, that makes you someone trustworthy, compelling, even, I would say, magnetic. Because hard-won experience, both good and bad, is really what provides depth and meaning for leaders of substance. And when you're willing to reveal your wins as well as your losses, people will listen, they'll lean in, they'll ask for your advice, and you will be the person that they choose to work with, to collaborate with, to develop an affiliate relationship or any other kind of partnership, because you are willing to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
Okay. There's a lot of gold in there. What I'd like to go a little bit deeper with, Linda, is specifically for the speaking industry and the corporate training industry. It's all about relationships because people's jobs are on the line. choosing one person over another, right? They need a sure bet, and they will trust the word of people they trust, right? Or even organizations of those that they trust. So
Yes.
you having your multiple best-selling books, your multiple awards, TEDx talks, like other people gambled on you, and it not just once, right? Multiple times. So that gives me, if my job is on the line, to choose you out of 20 other people for my stage, gives me the confidence to take you to the board, or choose you over those other people. So what I like to dive into is, how do specifically speakers and corporate trainers in all different kinds of industries choose those power tribes that are going to be best suited for them. It's going to be different for each person, versus the contrast of, there's certain organizations that you should probably be involved in, but don't confuse that with being your power tribe. Let's say NSA, right? Or ISB, it's losing me, but International Association, IASB, of speaking professionals, right? That there's all different kinds of kind of no-brainer groups that you should probably be a part of because you are in that particular industry. If you're a tech guru, right? There's certain tech industries but that's different from choosing a power tribe. So
That's
that's
right.
kind of that broad networking, which is great. It's kind of network by association, I guess. Whereas you are talking about a more higher powered community of people where you can kind of get a little bit vulnerable, because you don't want to do that publicly. Learn from other people's mistakes, listen to some hard earned wisdom within that group, and develop real relationships. So, can you talk to that a little bit? The difference between kind of a membership, professional membership group, versus vetting for that right power to, because we don't have time for 10. I don't, right? If you are performing, I just want the one, right? And now I'm willing to cut a check for speed to get into that one power tribe. So answer that, and then we'll lead into, because I love this. You actually have developed, what is it, nine types of people that everyone should have in their network. So I'm just leading you. We'll go there after.
Yeah, and you're right. I think that by combining research on the characteristics of an effective network and what we know about gender differences in network and how our social networks affect our well-being psychologically, emotionally, even in terms of our career path and our success trajectory, many experts do suggest that there are 9 types of people that everyone should have in their network. In my mind, creating your own power tribe is really a matter of understanding who are really close relationships around you, sort of your front row, those people that have a front row view of your life that you could call on in any time to give you feedback, to give you honest advice and guidance, to give you tough love, to tell you the truth, because they care about you, because they are deeply invested in your success. And if you have a front row of people that include the 9 types of folks we're going to talk about in a minute, then I'd say you're well on your way to creating your own power tribe. But it's important, I think, for everyone to do a little bit of an assessment about what kind of relationships they could identify very quickly off the top of their head that are part of the front row of their life, that know them intimately, personally and professionally. People they could call at any time, day or night, and say, hey, I'm hitting an obstacle, I'm hitting a problem, I have this crisis, I don't know which way to go. And also people that will absolutely be a cheerleader for them, a leader who will take charge to advocate for you, to help you with everything from career advancement opportunities to speaking opportunities. And that's really kind of a sponsor, someone who chooses to advocate for you, even behind closed doors. Even behind closed doors with other leaders, they will say, you know who you should hire. You know who you should partner with. You know who you should create an alliance with, right? And research continuously shows that sponsors are critical to helping aspiring leaders gain the perspective and gain the connections that they need to take on more complex roles, to advance their career, to really advance their personal ambitions, like becoming a six-figure or seven-figure speaker. And so what I would say is the very first step is to do a bit of an assessment of the people in your life that you believe that you have that close affinity with, that you could say, yep, they're part of my power tribe.
Ooh, good stuff there. I know we're going to dive into those 9 types of people to network here in a moment, but I wanted to touch on this. There was a lot there, Linda, and thank you for bringing your wisdom, your hard-earned wisdom, to the Speak Pack family. What I call that are kind of, you're developing a community of organic ambassadors, right? People want to help people, especially when you're at that level. They want to be able to refer the right person to go to and it be a success. So it's kind of friend raising with a purpose, which might feel a little bit cold, but we're all professionals, right? We understand that, especially in the speaking and corporate training industry, it's largely about who you know, who you're connected with, who's going to endorse you. And so having that more devoted kind of army, I guess, that power tribe of organic ambassadors where they're going to refer you behind closed doors and you're going to do the same because you really do believe in one another. It's not just, let me just throw out a name. It's no, I can really tell you that you want to take a hard look at Linda Fisk, right? She is somebody that you can trust. She delivers. She's proven her process. She's not going to let you down, right? And that comes a lot more differently than, oh yeah, I heard Linda Fisk does that. You might want to kind of look at her website or something, which is just very, very different level of building that kind of. It is a true network, right? This is when you're really getting those true kind of connections that bring a lot of value. Just one good referral can completely connect you into this whole other world in your speaking and corporate training business that can change everything. So to diminish the value of networking on this more scientific vein, right? This more targeted vein is to your detriment, right? I've joined networking groups, I've joined memberships, really didn't go anywhere. I just wind up meeting with a bunch of people that just kind of wasted my time, versus you really are in a power tribe that proves valuable back and forth, right? That go give relationship that only continues to blossom from there. So I'll let you take it away from here.
I love that. You just summarized everything I tried to express so succinctly and so elegantly. So thank you for that. But as we talked about, there are 9 types of people that we believe everyone should have in their network. And the first is a co-striver. And I would invite everyone who's listening to really think through whether or not these are people that you could say, yep, I have that person in my power tribe. And if not, take a note and start doing a little bit of work right now to say, who could that be? I don't have that person in my network right now, but I wonder if I know someone that could serve that role.
So you said co-striver, meaning someone who's growing.
Meaning they're working to achieve something very similar to you.
Okay.
This is a person who can be a professional or a personal connection. Perhaps you and your co-striver are both seeking promotions within your organization. Maybe you're both seeking big stages to stand on to tell your story. A co-striver is someone who can relate to you based on a shared goal. And you are there for each other, to support each other, to encourage each other as you both work towards that goal. There's no competition. There's no jealousy. There's simply support. So number two,
Wait, just
as
wait,
the,
real quick. And I know
yeah,
we're running out on time, and I'm going to want more time with you. But you said something that I don't want to gloss over. No jealousy. So there is within the speaking industry, right? This feeling of competition is great. I love competition. I don't like a lack mentality. I like an abundant mentality. Meaning, if I refer Linda to this conference that I actually maybe want to speak at next year, I might give it to her and I don't get it, right? Or whatever might kind of be at the back of your mind. You cannot outgive. It's a universal. And if you're a Bible believer, it's even in the Bible, right? You cannot outgive. When you operate from a law of abundance, and you are so good at this, Linda, you have a way of seeing two people that should know each other, right? And then you
yes,
abundantly make sure that you connect them. Really super quick story because I know we're running low on time. I owned a bed and breakfast for many years. And so I was part of the regional kind of bed and breakfast association. I owned mine for over 10 years. I think I need to do the math. I think it was like 12 years. The average burnout rate of most innkeepers is 2 years. And I saw with my own eyes, right, what the big difference was. So in those meetings, we would have a meeting once a month. We'd come together, bring our favorite bed and breakfast dish that we make, share wins and challenges and all the things. The ones who would like hold everything close to their chest and they wouldn't refer one another back and forth, they burnt out very quickly. The ones that were more successful and lived longer freely gave, their advice, their recipes, their referrals. So let's say my bed and breakfast focused on retreats, and another bed and breakfast focused on romantic escapes, right? Romantic getaways. But I was afraid to refer to that other B&B because I would think, well, they're going to go, they're going to use them then for their retreat next year, whatever. That is such the wrong mentality. And in the space that we're talking about as well, there's going to be that little, am I going to be giving away too much? I'm of the belief you really can't give away too much. You need to use wisdom because you don't want to refer wrongly either, because then that reflects back on your own reputation. But I didn't want to gloss over that law of just generosity, that kind of law of reciprocity as well. There's plenty for everyone. So don't hold those referrals too close to your chest, or even
you
some of your
said so
advice.
beautifully. I'm with you. And you just led to the second person that needs to be part of everyone's power tribe. And that is a super connector. And you just talked about that. And it's a perfect example. They know everyone and everyone knows them, and they can introduce you to the right people. They can make referrals for you. They can bring business to you. Having a super connector in your network is absolutely crucial for your future success, because this is a person who connects you with people and influential groups that you may not typically actually have access to. So it expands your connectivity, it expands your dynamism. And I tell you, super connectors generally enjoy connecting people in their network. So don't be afraid to ask them for that desired introduction or that referral. And you just said that when you become a funnel into other people's success, well, that is not only the most fulfilling and rewarding thing you can do, but it is what God designed us for. He wants us to champion each other's success. And that is the third person. I may stop there with time, but I will tell you, everyone needs and deserves to have a cheerleader, someone who believes in you. We all need a champion in our power tribe. This is a person who is always cheering you on and regularly sings your praises or defends you, even when you aren't in the room. And we all need a champion. I will tell you, with just those three people in your power tribe, you are well on your way. A co-striver, a super connector, and a champion. I have several others, but we'll add them into the show notes. Perhaps that's the best way of handling it,
Perfect.
but I'll leave that to you.
Perfect. Perfect. Okay. So you're a superstar. Thank you. Thank you for just these three. If we could just soak into those and start identifying those power tribes or create our own, right? That fit this beautiful inner circle that is going to be valuable for everybody who's involved in it. That is the way to not get stale, continuously grow, and avoid some really big pitfalls, right? Otherwise,
That's
pitfalls.
right.
I know at this stage of the show, Linda, people are going to want to know where to find you. Where do you like to be found?
I will say I'm very active on LinkedIn. You're welcome to reach out to Linda Fisk on LinkedIn, or look up Lead Her Ship Global on LinkedIn. That is the two easiest ways to connect. Is drop me a note on Lead Her Ship Global or Linda Fisk on LinkedIn. We, of course, have a website that you're welcome to review. But if you want a direct one-on-one conversation, the best way to begin that conversation is on LinkedIn.
Talk about Power Tribe. You want Linda in yours. So it's Linda, no tricks there. M like Michelle, I don't know what your middle name is, and Fisk, Fisk, for those who are just listening in, and Lead Her, Her, Ship, Lead Her Ship, also on LinkedIn. And I know you have a website as well, but I am all about LinkedIn. Talk about power connections. If you are a speaker or a corporate trainer and your main quote unquote website is not LinkedIn, I think you're kind of missing the boat. 20 to 30% of your engagements are going to come from that, and about 50 to 60% of your referrals utilized right is going to come from LinkedIn. So I think that's where you and I met.
Yes, it
Or were
is.
we
And
introduced? No, we were
we were
anyway.
introduced, and then we got in touch on LinkedIn.
Yes. Okay. Love. Yeah, it could be part of the whole ecosystem. All right. We will definitely put those other points in the show notes, but what I encourage is that you reach out to Linda, and she's just incredibly generous. So you can definitely get some of those insights once you connect with her. As we are coming to a close, Linda, you know our signature question, and that is that, or I guess our signature challenge, right? We are at Speak Pact. We are on this universal pact to make the greatest impact that we can in our communities, in our world, in our sphere of influence. And that is with the power of our message, right? The power of our voice. As it relates to networking really with the right kinds of those power tribes, what is something that you can challenge the Speak Pact audience to do today to really start, I guess, weeding through and identifying those power people that should be in their circle?
It's going to be a two-part challenge. Step number one, identify, literally write down those people that you think are a part of your power tribe. Write down the names, write down their role in your life. Are they a super connector? Are they a mentor? Are they a sponsor? Are they someone who is a re-energizer or a champion, or maybe someone who's a co-striver? But number one, really think through your close inner circle. And I would challenge you to actually write the name of the people that you believe are a part of your power tribe. That's step number one. Challenge number one is do an assessment of your own power tribe and identify the people that are a part of your power tribe. And next to their name, add their role, add how they provide strength and power to you. Next, once you've identified your power tribe, it's important to activate that success circle, which means being intentional about investing in these relationships. So once you have them noted, I want you to go to them through LinkedIn or email or text or phone and say, hey, let's catch up. Let's just schedule a quick 30-minute catch up. I'd love to hear about what's happening in your life, how I can be of service, how I can provide value to you, and I'd love to tell you what I'm up to.
Ooh.
But you lead with value. You are intentional about investing in these relationships by carving out time to invest in them. So you activate your success circle by reaching out, scheduling time, and leading with value. What can you do for them? That's it. Those are the two challenges.
Well, when you get to this level, you have a lot of people in your network, right? And it's those people who do lead with value that you just naturally remember. It's human nature, right? I do not forget about you, Linda, because you are always there in just such a mutually beneficial way. So I really love and appreciate that. And that is a perfect example of your success circle, right? Your power circle. I love that. Would love to kind of piggyback on something you said. You said assess and activate, identify, right? Who it changes. So you need to evolve. Your community evolves as you do, even within a particular inner circle, right? Who you're going to gravitate towards is going to evolve because you're evolving. So that assessment piece that you brought up just seems so elementary, right? But it's the critical foundation. And I think that you should do it pretty regularly, maybe every 6 months. Sit down. Who am I spending the most time with regards to my power tribe? Because just like a potted plant that is root bound, you can't stay in that same pot. It might feel a little bit cruel, but they're hopefully evolving as well. And their needs of who needs to be in their power circle is going to change as well. So there's this kind of misplaced feeling of loyalty. Yes, they will always be part of your journey, and you'll always have that connection, right? It's not like you're giving up
Right.
one person for another, but you can't stay stuck in that same root bound pot, if that makes sense.
I love that. What a great analogy.
All right, Linda, you are a superstar. Thank you for being in the Speak Pact community and on this show. You've given a lot of wisdom here, and you have so much more to give. So definitely look Linda Fisk up.
Thank you so much for allowing me to be a part of this dynamic program. I am so grateful.
And if you are that go-giver and I know that you have found value in this show, especially if you're right here at the end with us. So be sure to post it forward. People cannot find this information without you, right? So help them find Linda, help them find Speak Pact by generously posting forward, liking, loving, rating, right? Give us your honest feedback, because that is how the algorithms help other people find this important information. Thank you for being with us, Linda, and the Speak Pact audience. Ciao, ciao for now.
Thank you for listening to the Speak Pact podcast. To become a recommended speaker of Antoniette's WPC speaker agency, or you are a host or planner looking for a dynamic expert in optimized performance, Antoniette would like to personally meet with you. Secure a time with her at speakerbooker.com. Again, that is speakerbooker.com. It all begins with a vision, a voice, and a pact to impact. Join the Speak Pact movement by joining our new private Facebook group at the link in our show notes. Find us on nearly every social media platform at One Antoniette. That's number 1, ANTONIETTE, or simply #SpeakPact.